Well, welcome to Addiction Activist, another episode of Addiction Recovery Messages of Hope. Uh, right now, I'm going to do my best to speak on a topic of humility. And that's it's an interesting topic for me because, in the beginning of this journey of recovery for me, I didn't really even understand what humility was. I kind of had it bunched up and put into a same little box as humiliation, and I thought if I was feeling humiliated or allowing myself to be treated less than, I was humble. If I was putting other people's needs in front of my own and basically neglecting my own spiritual, physical, and mental well-being, that I was being humble. And what I understand today for me is that that's not humility. That's people pleasing. That is codependency or any other label that we want to put on it. It's interesting because I'd like to believe that through this process I've developed a little bit of humility. I'd like to believe that I'm a humble man. Though at times I struggle with that. Sometimes I want to put myself up on this pedestal. I'm some spiritual giant, or some highly, principled individual. And then on the other side, in the same breath, I'm inadequate, I'm inferior, I'm less than, I'm incompetent, and all the rest of this stuff. And I get this battle going on. And I think for me, humility is realizing that I can be all of those things. That it's a combination of accepting myself for who I am. That I have assets, that I have shortcomings, that I fail in certain things, that I have some successes, some victories. That I fall short. For me, that's humility, is accepting my humanness. We're all human, and we're all fallible, and we're all going to make mistakes. And I work really hard to not put myself or view myself or present myself as being any better than anybody else. And I also work really hard on not allowing myself to treat myself less than anybody else. It's that balancing place where I try to stay for the most part I try to stay okay with where I am and who I am and what I'm doing. And what I know for me today is that sometimes it's about putting other people before me, and other times it's about putting myself before other people. Sometimes I have to take care of John, because if I'm not taking care of myself, how can I take care of anybody else? How can I help somebody else if I'm not taking care of myself? So, what I've learned here is this place is that if I'm not taking care of myself, then I'm mistreating myself. And if I'm mistreating myself, it's very likely that I'm going to begin to mistreat other people. So me taking care of myself and is a big part of this thing. And but understanding and realizing that I am not the center of the universe. The whole world does not revolve around me. Nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes me nothing. I don't got nothing coming. What I have, I've had to work for, and I will continue to work for those things. And it's not about being better than anybody else. It's just about being in acceptance of who I am. There's a lot of stuff on social media these days, and a lot of people doing videos of this nature, Facebook Lives and rants and whatnot, and a lot of people talking about recovery, and I'm grateful that there is more and more people out there that are able and willing to recover in public. But what I want you to know is that I don't do this stuff for me. What I'm going to tell you right now is that I've been trying to do this little piece on humility for about 20 minutes. I probably deleted 7 videos because it's not satisfactory to me. And what I'm going to tell you is this is going to be the last one I'm going to do. I'm going to accept this one for what it is, because this isn't about me. This is about sharing a message of hope with people that may be struggling, that may have some loved ones out there that are struggling and don't really have a clear understanding of what recovery looks like. And maybe you're in recovery and you're struggling with humility. And, to keep it really plain and really simple for me, and I didn't come up with this myself. I'm not that quite that bright. Humility isn't about thinking less of myself. It's about thinking of myself less. And like I mentioned, it's finding that balance in the middle, and sometimes the other person has to come first. And I had the opportunity to really experience, through some reflection about humility for me, and that was in this process recently with my wife and her being sick. And I didn't realize how much of myself I had given. I was talking about it to a lot of people. I was talking about being afraid and talking about being what happens if she passes, and a lot of stuff. My head was a mess. But what I know is that I was able to be present in that situation with her. And some of it was really tough and some of it was really hard, and I didn't want her to be sick, and I was scared, and I didn't really know how to do what I was doing. But you know being on the other side of it now, I realized that it was such a gift and such a blessing to be able to think about somebody else more than me. In some of the literature out there, in recovery literature, it talks about the core of our disease being the selfishness and self-centeredness. And and selfishness and self-centeredness, I think, is the opposite of humility. They say that every shortcoming has an asset on the other side of it. It's like two sides of the coin. We have arrogance, and then we have confidence. We have hate, and we have love, and we have self-centered, and we have humility. And I'm not the I'd like to believe I'm a humble man, and yet there are times when I'm not. And once again, that's that being in that place of acceptance of who I am, and that I'm human, and I make mistakes, and I fall short. And that the beauty of that thing is that I can always strive and to be better, to be a little bit more, to practice some different principles and whatnot. And it's all part of the journey, really, for me. And I don't know if any of this struck any type of a chord with you or not. I don't know what. Sometimes I don't even know really why I'm doing this stuff, other than I have a relentless commitment to make a difference in the world. And this really isn't about me. This is about spreading a message of hope, and being a light at the end of the tunnel for somebody else, and helping people understand that some of our thoughts and some of our processes, there's a pretty high likelihood that someone else has walked through it as well. And that being afraid, and feeling less than, and feeling incompetent, and all the rest of that stuff, and realizing that that's all part of this deal for me. And and being more aware of that stuff, and coming to terms with the fact that I am worthy just the way that I am. And as long as that I'm doing the right thing for the right reason, and doing my best to practice love, and spiritual principles, you know just by that alone, I am making a difference in the world in a positive aspect. And I do a little bit more too, because I think I'm obligated to, in some sense. You know, I truly love the opportunity to share with you some of my stumbling, and some of my rambling, and some of my thoughts and my processes, and the way I see things. And once again, this isn't like I don't have all the answers. I'm not some guru or something or anything like that. I'm just another guy, in recovery, trying to stay clean one day at a time, that has found has found fulfillment in sharing his experiences with other people. And the beauty is we have the opportunity to do that at such a much larger scale today, with social media and all the rest of that stuff. So, you know,
if you are struggling and you are in that place where you may not feel worthy, or you may feel less than, or you may feel hopeless, and you don't know what's around the next corner, what I can tell you is that, if you're breathing, there's hope, and there's people out there that, people like me that want to help. So reach out, ask somebody for help, send me a message, put a comment on this video, and I'll do my best to respond, and reach out back. This this whole journey and this whole process of recovery has been, a pretty amazing experience that I get to participate in, and the greatest thing is I get to share it with all of you. So remember, passion, purpose, and perseverance, we can make a difference. And with that, I will thank you for your time, and humbled by the fact that you would take the time to watch this video. If it struck a chord with you, if you feel it could help somebody else, go ahead, share it, like, comment, start a conversation. With that, I'll sign off for now, and catch you on the next trip.